Hello, hello. I'm getting everything set up. Give me 2 seconds. We are going live today, streaming on all of these amazing platforms. So wherever you are, I am saying hello to you. And I think I got everybody for the most part, except for Discord. I'm still figuring that one out. As you have noticed, I have changed T with Z, which I'm going to be using for in-person events, to ZTV, which has already been housing my blog, or my vlog rather, but I'm going to be doing some more sessions and doing this live. And I'm also going to be having some amazing hosts that I feel like are really making an impact in the world and in the community, in the industry, that I feel like you all should know. And give me 1 second. I haven't done it at this angle yet, so it's a little tricky for me to see all of the comments. Hi, there we go. Now I can see you. Hello, hello. First time catching a live. Hi, how are you? Feel free to drop your location in the chat so I know where you are streaming live from. I think I'm going to be changing my setup, or I might be hooking it up to my TV because the comments are so small that I can't really see them. But tonight we have a really, really fun live that I thought was going to be really healing. And I know folks have been transitioning through May right now. So I figured, New York City, hi, good to see you again. North Carolina, yes. Good to see you. So tonight we're going to talk about healing the divine feminine, clearing our power centers before the manifestation portal opens. How many of you know what manifestation portal I am talking about right now? I feel like I've mentioned it all over social media, but there are some folks who still don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to keep sharing it. Do you know what manifestation portal we are in starting today? I just posted a video about it, but let me know. I do also want to share that this new series called ZTV is going to be featuring a lot of unfiltered truths, revolutionary healing, and a place for folks to share their stories. I'm also going to be dropping a link, so anybody who wants to be a part of what I'm calling another series, Untold Stories, so you can anonymously share your stories if you want me to share anything to the public, or it might be useful for someone else's healing and I can totally share it. Yes, the Gemini portal. I'm glad that you have been following along. Hello, folks on TikTok. It's so great to see you. If you are on TikTok, feel free to join us over on YouTube as well. So I do want to mention that May is a month of clearing, right? So there's June, July, and August, which is the fast manifestation portal as well. But we are in the Gemini generational wealth portal that lasts for 4 weeks. So if you're wanting to call in cash flow, connection, confidence, this is a time to clean house, basically clean out your sacral, clean out your solar plexus. And so I'm going to walk you through some ways you can actually help heal your divine feminine, which exists in everybody. So this is not something that is gendered as well. It's a part of me, it's a part of you, it's a part of everybody. So it's good to always tap in with both energies within you. But I just want to make sure that folks are actually radiating and thriving and not just surviving day to day, because I know what that is like. And so I wanted to bring some visibility to that as well. So let's begin with what is a divine feminine, but also make sure you have something to write with, because there's going to be some notes along the way that I feel like are going to be really useful for you to remember. And as we move through these next couple of months, trust me, you're going to want to look back on these notes. So let's get into what the divine feminine is. So the divine feminine is really your inner knowing, your creative power, your sensuality, and your ability to receive. Again, it's not about gender. This is so important when it comes to manifestation. Feel free to tell me in the comments why you think it's important. But the divine feminine, because it's so heavily rooted in an inner knowing, that is your intuition. That is your connection to source, right? Like your divine masculine type of energy is the one that's charging forward. It's more protective. It's a little bit more fiery. But your divine feminine energy is the one that is connected to the earth, to the cosmos, to the stars, to your ancestors, to deities, if you work with them. So that is really your support system, right? You need your divine feminine for that, but you also need it for your creative power. And I know a lot of you are wanting to make an impact in the world. So if you're wanting to like grow your business and do amazing things in your life, you need to be able to tap into your divine feminine energy, because that is where your manifestation energy also comes from. That's your sensuality. That's your like love for yourself and your ability to call in your manifestations, hold it, keep it, and fully receive it, right? One of the biggest things with manifestation is that sometimes it can be really challenging to um to keep wanting to go forward on your spiritual journey, because it's like, okay, where's my manifestation? Why is it still not here? And usually it's because there's some sort of imbalance with your chakras and your divine feminine energy when it comes to receiving, especially if you are a femme or an intersectional femme like myself, who presents as a person of color, who is femme, who also wears, African face markings. Like at some point, I had dated a female for a while. Like there's many ways that you can be intersectional. And so sometimes when you go out into the world with that intersectionality, it can be really hard to be the person that you want to be and feel comfortable, especially if you don't have any examples of what that looks like, in a person, and to do it securely. So let me know if that is making sense. And one of the things that you really want to pay attention is when you're disconnected from it, you usually end up abandoning yourself. So that's that self-abandon, right? Like not following through on your self-care practices, putting others before yourself, over giving, shrinking your energy, your power, and sabotaging your own pleasure. So not making time for joy. If you like to paint, or if you like to dance, if you like to hang out with folks, even if you like to go out on dates and things like that, right? You end up not prioritizing those things because you're too far into your masculine energy instead of being in your divine feminine energy, again, which is what you need for your manifestation. And what ends up happening is you end up trusting you stop trusting yourself, and you end up doubting everything about who you are. You question your worth, and you chase instead of magnetize. You don't know how many times I see this within folks. And even for myself, it was a journey to heal instead of chasing, right? Like, especially if you live in the United States, we are used to being within a system that rewards you for working hard. And if you are a femme who chooses a different path, like maybe the softer life, or being in your intuition more to magnetize things to you, people often look at you as if you are unwell. But that's all by design. That's how colonialism works. That's how imperialism works, right? You're taught to not trust the gifts within you. And so when you're imbalanced with your divine feminine energy, you also begin to do the things that actually sabotage your happiness and don't bring your manifestations to you. So now is the perfect time for you to undo that conditioning so you can actually bring in what you are wanting. So feel free to tell me in the comments, do you ever feel like you're doing all the right things in your life, but still are blocked from joy, money, and love? So I want you to let me know in the comments. Hi, Miss Sassy Oracle from Colorado. Let me know. I'll repeat it. Tell me if you ever feel like you're doing all the right things in your life, all the right things. Like you're like, I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. You're doing all the right things, but still, you are not feeling very joyful. Your money is not coming in, and you still feel like you cannot manifest love into your life, or opportunities for love, or go on dates, or even be able to feel it within yourself. Let me know if you have ever experienced that. And again, if you see me looking around, I'm looking at my other computers. to check on comments and things, because I'm streaming from multiple platforms. I know that I personally have definitely felt that along my journey, and I see it with the folks that I work with in More Than Worthy and in Z School for the Gifted. I feel like one of the first things that the folks say is like, I do that. I do that. Yes, I meditate. Yes, I like, but I'm like still angry. I'm still unhappy. And it seems like by the end of the day, I like just want to yell, or like, why is my money so blocked? Or why is it that every time I want to go out on a date, like nobody is talking to me, right? There's all these things. Yeah, like thank you for being honest. Like, yes, you experience it, and it's perfectly normal, and it's literally comes down to our own energy and being able to heal that part of ourselves that is actually willing to receive. Even if you think that you're open to receiving, doesn't mean that you actually are, right? Otherwise your manifestations would be there. That's like tell like your telltale sign. Like maybe as you get closer, as you're healing, you're starting to see your environment change, and that's why it's good to have a coach like myself, or some sort of healer to help you, because you can actually see your progress as you go on your spiritual awakening journey, instead of doing it by yourself. But I do want to talk about next healing the sacral and the solar plexus, which is really important for healing the divine feminine. And the reason why I mention that is because the sacral is all about your sensuality, your creativity, your emotions, and your boundaries. It's basically your entire life. It's your whole life. So if you have an imbalanced chakra, you're not going to be able to feel that intimacy with yourself. You're not going to want to feel intimate with anybody else, even down to just having intimate conversations, opening up, revealing who you are. You're not going to want to create or be within your manifestation energy as much as you think, because you're probably going to be frustrated. You're going to have an imbalance in your emotions, and you're going to have a really hard time having boundaries, not just boundaries with other people, but boundaries with yourself. Meaning, are you actually going to stop engaging with the things in your life that are sabotaging your manifestations? Like, let's say you want to better your health, but yet you still go for the foods that hurt your body, or don't feel good to you. Like, you just keep doing these things over and over and over again. Those are telltale signs of your sacral being really out of balance. And if it's hard for you to have conversations where you need to have it's called crucial conversations, right? Like where it's a high stakes situation, where maybe it's about love, maybe it's about money, maybe it's about better communication or expressing how you feel. Maybe it's you're at work and you're asking for a promotion. If it's difficult to do those things, you likely have a blocked sacral, right? A sacral. And for your solar plexus, like this is your power center. This is it's like your power plant of your of your manifestation, because you need energy in order to push your manifestation out into the universe. It also directs your confidence, your actual direction of your energy, and your voice. So if you are wanting to live a sovereign life within your finances, or within love, within relationships, you have to be able to articulate things for yourself, which is the self advocacy part, right? Really being able to tell people, this is what I want, this is what I don't want, and also be able to receive it. If someone wants to have a conversation with you and give feedback, where your divine feminine energy is going to come in, you're going to gently receive it, and take it into account if it aligns, and if it was delivered in a way that you can actually be able to do that. Again, it depends on who you are talking to, but all of this lives within your divine feminine energy, because it's your way of communicating and flowing energy. So if you are having stomach issues, if you find that food is difficult to digest, if you find that you've been bloated around your belly area, those are all signs that you also have a blocked solar plexus. And these two chakras are most commonly wounded by childhood trauma, which, hello, is everybody. It's literally everybody. So it's wounded by childhood trauma, which is why doing your inner child work is so important. Wounded by rejection, sexual shame, survival mode. So not having financial stability in your life for a really long time, being shamed about who you are, what you're attracted to, how you feel in the bedroom. Maybe you've had partners that you don't feel safe with because of something you've experienced. Oh wow, only four in here. Yeah. Um, and then the other one is internalized patriarchy or hyper independence, right? Like that is another one. So if you feel, hi ancient eyes, if you feel like it's a little bit harder for you to lean into your community instead of asking for help, and instead of wanting to go out and, let's say, garden with a group of folks, or go to movies, or maybe go to a networking event where you can actually excel, right? If it's hard for you to do that, but you know that it's good for your livelihood, your happiness, right? People aren't meant to be alone. Then it's like that's a telltale sign that you also have one of these chakras that are blocked. And another one is, people pleasing. People pleasing is a big one. So, how often are you actually making room for other folks in your life that, you know, maybe shouldn't be there? Or maybe you're not taking action in your business or in your friendships or in your intimate relationships or within your family because you care too much about what they think. Like, is it really holding you back? Or maybe you want to start that YouTube channel or that TikTok, but you feel like you have to get everything in place. Otherwise, there's going to be all this shame on how you show up in the world. Like, those are all forms of people pleasing. Even if you have a coach, right? Like, sometimes you can have a coach that maybe you don't vibe with very well, and you still find yourself obligated to be there instead of finding a new coach, right? That is still a version of people pleasing. And then if you're often burnt out from work, if you're often burned out from hanging out with people, right? Like, maybe your cup isn't as filled as you think it is. This one is quite sensitive. A lot of people don't talk about this a lot when it comes to these blocked chakras, but feeling unseen, so really feeling invisible, um, which is quite heartbreaking. Um, but is actually way more common than folks think, and I see it a lot also in Z School for the gifted. It's that feeling of isolation, that feeling of being alone, and also there is this level of not taking action or not knowing how to take action, or even if you are within a community, you still feel unseen, unheard, you feel invisible. There's like a lack of a sense of belonging, right? That one is also a blocked chakra as well, and could be tied to however you grew up. Like, did your family acknowledge you? Did you feel seen? Did you feel like you had to act a certain way in order to receive love? So now that you're actually receiving love, do you still feel invisible because you're used to having to work for love, and now that you don't know how to receive it. Right? And then another one is hustling to prove instead of resting to receive. That one's a huge one, and really common for new entrepreneurs. I went through a tough phase with that, and I feel like every once in a while, especially as I am growing my business and my platform, it can sometimes be easy to end up over hustling. And so having a list of things that you want to get done and then spreading it out throughout the month, or throughout the week if possible, is going to be best. But if you feel the need that you have to wake up, you have to go fast, you have to hustle, you have to, like, just be constantly moving around instead of bringing things to you, that's a huge sign that you have imbalanced chakras. So someone said, it's been me all in my head, but I'm moving now. Yeah, beautiful, like, realization, right? Like, sometimes it's just a matter of taking that bird's eye view of who we are, and making those really meaningful adjustments for ourselves. I'm so glad that you are moving in your life. It's really powerful. And I want you to, we're going to do a quick little exercise for folks. So whoever is tuned in, or if you are watching this afterwards, I want you to go ahead and close your eyes, and I want you to take some deep breaths into your low belly. Take some deep breaths into your low belly, because we're going to pause here. So take some deep breaths into your low belly and ask your body, what do I need to feel safe in my softness? So you can sit with that for just a moment, continuing to breathe, continuing to feel into that energy of your low belly, right below your belly button. Asking, what do I need to feel safe in my softness? And then once you've done that, I want you to write in the chat what word popped up for you. What word popped up for you as you are checking in with your lower belly, which is your sacral, checking in with your solar plexus? What do I need to feel safe in my softness? So what word came up for you? You can drop it into the chat. And it's always so cool to see this, because it's so different. It's so different for everybody, depending on where they're at on their journey. um some folks need privacy, some folks need joy, some people want to sleep in, some people literally need food, some people need authenticity, right? Someone wrote, accept myself fully. Yeah, I love that. And that's the thing about, your lower chakras, your sacral and your solar plexus is, and all the chakras in general, is they will constantly be speaking to you. They will constantly be speaking to you, but it's a matter of you slowing down and being in your divine feminine energy and allowing yourself to receive the message. Receive the message. But so often we don't slow down enough and, put our hands on our body or sit within meditation for 1 to 2 minutes and just check in. Also, rest without feeling guilty. Yeah, that's really common. A lot of times folks judge other people for resting, or they're seen as like not working very hard. I had just gotten a message from someone, and I was asking them about how their exercise was going, and they're like, some days I wake up really tired and lazy, and I'm like, I don't need, like, don't use that verbiage. Like, don't use that verbiage. You're not lazy. Are you are resting. You are resting. We have a tendency to call ourselves lazy when really we just are slowing down. There's honor and strength within slowing down. And it is hard, especially if you have a family or you are an only parent, and you're having to work multiple jobs. Maybe you're trying to make ends meet, or maybe you just are in a family that requires a lot from you. Uh, this message said, grounding is my biggest issue. I keep going into Walmart and it's like walking into a mist of static. Yeah, the energy is so bad in there. Yeah, it's a lot of energy. There's a lot of people in there. There's a lot of stuff in there. No one's ever going through and energetically cleansing. Um, can you stop going in there for a little while to give yourself some rest, to balance that divine feminine energy, that intuition, and help yourself ground? Especially right now, May is clearing out, so it's the perfect time to just take that unbiased look at your life and your actions and create something new for yourself. Create a new path, a new way of living. I felt I needed to care more for myself more than others at times. I I need to care. Yeah, yeah, you definitely should. We were talking about that earlier, um, around, it's easy to be people pleasing, over giving, tending to others instead of tending to ourselves because it's easy. We're taught to do that in society in general, to care for each other, but have like no way of looking at ourselves. We talked about this also on the last live of, especially in the US, you have to go out and work and be there for people and have a boss, or all these things, like you're constantly under the energy of somebody else because that's the only way you are taught to make money. And so when it comes to taking care of yourself, you're like, how do I even do that? I'm used to being told what to do all the time. And so it's hard to follow through for yourself over and over and over again. And it feels uncomfortable to do so. This energy perception is still pretty new to me. I've gone through a huge change over the past month. Yeah. And like it's the perfect month for it. I mean, what have you learned over the past month? Over the past month. And if anybody missed and was just joining, we had placed our hands on our low belly and took some deep breaths and asked ourselves, what do I need to feel safe in my softness? What I need to feel safe in my softness. When I um when I feel like my divine feminine is out of balance as an entrepreneur, as also an activist, so sometimes my fiery energy can come straight out of my head, just straight out of my head. Um, a lot of the times I always hear rest. I always hear rest. I always hear like take a nap, slow down. My history is to go flying into energy movement. And so I will exercise and exercise and exercise and exercise until it's gone. But exercising keeps boosting your energy instead of grounding you, and it depends on what you're alchemizing. But in the past, that was always my pattern. And once I learned how to heal that and slow down, it's so powerful, so powerful. And sometimes I plan into my sleep schedule, which I don't know if any of you do this, but planning into your sleep schedule some extra sleep, like taking regular naps. I know I love that. And most folks are like, oh, 30-minute nap, 45-minute nap. And I'm like, no, I channel so much energy. I need a minimum of like an hour and a half. I'm like, I need an hour and a half, and then I'm going to go sleep for like 9 hours tonight. So, and then I wake up like, so spry. Let's see. Definitely, I had to rest for a couple of days after my sudden first massive energy surge. Oh my gosh, this stuff is not for the weak. It's really not. When you really dig into your spiritual awakening and you commit and you feel those shifts that are going on, you're like, what's happening? And like I saw my friend and they were like, I need, I don't know what I need, but I need something. I was like, you need sleep. You need sleep. You need some beets and you need sleep. Beets as in the vegetable. Being a single parent makes me feel trapped. Yeah. Which in turn makes me feel guilty for feeling this way and when I need space. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. I've had a lot of folks, and I'll share this tip with you. I don't know how old your kids are, but I've had quite a few clients who have either been single parents or within marriages and have like a ton of kids. And something that I always share with them is the guilt can really come in when sometimes there's a lack of understanding of inclusion and the power of asking for space and teaching it to them. And there was someone in particular who's like the kids were, it was like a wide range of kids. And they were all struggling with that. Like they were all struggling with it, but they couldn't see it at first. And I'm like, if you're struggling with space, they're probably all struggling with space at some point, depending on how old they are, or wanting to do something that they want to do, especially if there's multiple siblings. And so I helped them implement a practice that the whole family did. So everyone would have a day or a certain part of the day that was like their time. So if, you know, Sister Bethany has Tuesdays, and that means Bethany gets to have their privacy. Bethany gets to have like whatever fun they want to do. Bethany gets to shut their door, and the rest of us need to like honor and respect that. And we do it as a family. And then the next day, it's like, okay, it's Joe's day. It's like Dad's day, right? To have space, to have connection. And there was someone also who had young kids, and as they started doing that, the kids really liked it. Like they really liked it. They were like, oh, like today's mommy space day, so I'm gonna go do this, and then tomorrow we're doing this. And then like it was like by the end of the week they had a family party. Like it was like karaoke night, that it was like everybody's time to just be together. And it was also like a way to honor privacy, like, and to teach kids like it's okay if like you want to go like dig holes in the sand for a while and like chill. Right, like because sometimes we're also pushing things down kids throats instead of just letting them be kids. So I totally feel that, and I hope that like when you feel that guilt, it's an opportunity to also teach, so then you're not passing on that guilt to them as they grow up, right? And there was also someone recently who was having a really hard time with that, and it was quite volatile because their child really needed them, but they needed this space. And it was a really honest conversation of like, if you don't learn how to heal and articulate yourself, you're going to continue to traumatize this child, and you're going to traumatize yourself. So see these moments as huge opportunities to create generational change, right? Like, I don't ever want them to feel guilty down the road if they choose to have a family or to not choose to have him. I don't want them to ever feel like they can never ask for space because they never saw it in their family. Right? So try and see it from many different types of angles, and realize that like it's also appropriate to teach kids at many different ages peace. We need to be teaching kids that, right? Um, Hopefully that was helpful. It's not uh, a game. Yeah. I don't know what you're referring to when you say that. I don't remember. Um, Speaking of guilt, I did not know there were different types of guilt. Yeah, interpersonal guilt and existential guilt. Yeah, there's so many different types. Um, Yay. Thank you. So important and so helpful. Good. I'm glad. Right? Like this is where the generational cycles break. Like this is how you break it as a family. And it's up to you as the leader, right? To help them. You don't want to turn them into adults, but you can gently teach them for like teach them how to honor themselves, right? And then there's going to be ways that you can translate it to however old they are, right? And even looking at my nephew who's so tiny, it's like sometimes he's not messing with nobody. I'm like, let him live. Let's stop. Like, let him have his space, right? And then when he's ready, he'll come around the corner and be like, what's good? Sorry, that was talking about a previous message. It was super late. Okay, I was like, I don't remember saying that. No, it's totally fine. Um, I appreciate this honesty and just this vulnerability, right? Like this is also where the healing comes in for the solar plexus and the sacral, right? Putting those boundaries with yourself, like having that boundary for you being like, no, I'm gonna heal this. That's a boundary. I'm going to heal this. And now going forward, I'm going to honor myself and I'm going to keep this boundary. And I want my kids to have boundaries with themselves and with me too, of like being able to tell me, no, I need space. And I'm going to honor that. I'm going to honor it. If they tell me like they want space, cool. Right. Thank you for telling me. I appreciate it. Um, yeah, you're confusing me. I don't know what's going on. But let me know if this is making sense for you all, and just like really painting a clear picture of how these unhealed chakras can really run your life when you're not taking the time and effort to help yourself, right? Like you just setting those boundaries it's going to help heal this energy, help heal the divine feminine. It's going to help with your burnout and actually feel seen, because when you feel burnt out and you're not able to be yourself even within your family, you're going to feel resentful. You're going to start to feel resentful in your family because you're not getting what you need. But then there's the realization of, are you actually articulating what you need? Do you feel safe to be able to do that? Right? There's so many dynamics, but as you begin to do that, you naturally can heal and also help with your manifestations, right? Like if you're manifesting money, like what do you need to be able to secure that money for yourself? Do you need to be more confident when it comes to showing up on social media? I know one of the biggest things that I had to heal with my finances in my business was that my business never suffered. I made that up and then manifested it. I made up and manifested it. And as I was doing my healing journey a couple years ago and really looking into it, I went back and was like, I remember sitting at a table and listening to some of my family members, and they were like, the first year's out, small businesses tank, like all these things. And I like hated that feeling. I was like, I don't want to listen to you, right? Because I was so set on helping people. And I sat there and I told myself over and over and over and over again, I was like, I am not a statistic, I'm a manifestor. I am not a statistic, I'm a manifestor. And then, that year, I remember I like broke even but made 40 cents, and I was like, not a statistic. Right? And then like as years went on and I was like accruing other types of debt, I placed it on my business because that's what people were constantly telling me, that it was my business. But it wasn't that whatsoever. It was my poor boundaries and relationships and giving away money to folks because I was people pleasing. And so I was like, wow, I don't always have money because I mixed up the two situations and confused my worth and then imprinted it onto my business, and then my business suffered. So it's like sometimes you really have to take a like honest look at yourself and have boundaries. Like have boundaries with who you are and how you show up, and stop the burnout, right? And the only way to do that is to do your healing. And I do want to mention, in case any of you have not joined, tomorrow we are doing part 2 in Z School for the Gifted. I don't know if all of you were on the call on Monday, but I don't know how many of you are showing up, but you need to be there because we're doing part 2. We are clearing out the sacral and the solar plexus, which is what we've been talking about today. And I'm going to be answering some more of your spiritual questions, and I'm going to be teaching you a very important Ayurvedic massage for you to clear out your digestion, get that energy flowing. And I'm also going to be guiding you through a Gemini meditation to integrate your shadow and your light, since we are in the Gemini wealth portal. So it's going to be a very, very powerful day. There's still some spots left in tomorrow's class, which is going to be at 6 p.m. Pacific. So any of you who are on the call right now, since you were here, you should just come join. It is part 2 of this series, and then there's another one. It's going to be part 3 the following week, and then there's going to be the kick the shit challenge, which is really going to bring everything home. And it's a 3-day event, and it's really for folks who want to stop tolerating their own chaos and trauma, and stop playing small. Stop playing small. This is when you really call in your happiness. This is when you invest. That class is 555, and it comes with a bonus workshop for the following week, which I'm going to be teaching live, which is Unstoppable Wealth Creators. So we're going to really be looking at your finances and healing those money wounds so that you can actually receive your wealth. So let me know who of you from this live are going to be there. Who's going to be there? I know last night we had quite a few folks who were live that that ended up saying they were going to be there, and they committed, and I loved it. The universe also loves when people take action. All of you have different usernames, so I don't know many of your real names, so I won't know who's actually there. But I did want to mention that to you. So if you are going to be joining, I want you to put "I'm in the chat and say that you are committing to joining this beautiful journey with the rest of the community. It's been great because everybody is evolving and healing all at the same time. It's a safe space for you to be as you want to be. Wear your PJs, bring your notebook, be in meditation. And then, if it's late for you, then you can just check out, sign off, head straight to bed. It's a very relaxing thing to do right now, especially with all this energy. So a few other things as folks are typing, a few other things I want to add in for divine feminine healing keys. So make sure you are paying close attention for this. The first one is realizing that rest is productive. I know I've touched on this a little bit, but your brain needs to be able to process the changes that you are going through, especially, hi, it's Fairy, hey. um, Especially because many of you are breaking generational cycles and being on a spiritual awakening journey. Your brain needs time to heal and process and make sense of what's going on. Excuse me, I'm gonna drink some water. My throat was a little dry and tickly. So there is, some health, like physical health, that needs to be taken into account on these awakenings. I take extra time, like I mentioned earlier, to have some naps to sleep in. Some days I don't set my alarm just to see what my body wants to do that day, so that I can get out of a routine and get back into my flow. Another one is your worth is not measured by output. So remember that even if you don't get to your entire to-do list, and this is also for like my family folks, my entrepreneur folks, or folks who are just having long lists, just because you don't get everything done doesn't mean you are worth any less. That's not what that means. You are worth the world, and the most important thing is that you are happy, you are healthy, and you stay as present as you can to be able to continue to heal your divine feminine. Receiving is an act of rebellion. So if any of you have those rebellious spirits who are wanting to really create change in their life and in their world and have that fiery energy, I invite you to put your head to your pillow and lay outside or inside, wherever it is, and consider it a radical act, a radical act to change the world. Let me see. This says I've been sleeping a lot and having urine stomach lately. That makes so much sense now. Yeah, yeah. You should come to tomorrow's workshop. Come to tomorrow's workshop. We're gonna do a belly massage, and it will help with that. So you should definitely come. I don't know what your name is, uh, but I love your handle, Ma Blackish. I don't know how to say it. Thank you. I am worth so much more than I can imagine. 10,000%. My daughter said she likes today's look. Oh, thank you. Hi, Patrina. Hi. Yeah, you all should come. It's going to be a really powerful workshop, and you know, um it's only $22. It's extremely accessible, and I will say that this technique is something that you can carry with yourself everywhere, right? Like, it's a technique you can pass on to your family, to pass on to your friends, use it as a part of your toolkit, as a part of your resource for healing. And remember that again, like you are worth so much. So treat yourself like the royalty that you are, and help yourself receive more love in your life. My name is Love Blackish. I'm a musical artist. Oh, cool. I love that. I love that. From one musical artist to another musical artist. I heart you. I heart you. I love that name. Um, Another one is saying no is a form of self respect. We touched on this a little bit in a different live where I love to say that learning to say no is to say yes to the life that you are wanting. So, realizing when the perfect time is for you to just remove the things that are not serving you anymore. Remove them from your life. A lot of folks think that no is like rejection, and I feel like folks who are unhealed will usually feel that or think that if someone tells them no. I love when people tell me no. It like makes me so happy. Like I want to be friends with them even more. Which also don't mistake it for chasing. Okay, I just want to say that I'm being sarcastic, so like understand that. But immediately, if you are someone who, well, if you're someone who has trouble saying no and you say no to someone or something, immediately say what you're saying yes to, and that'll help you. Like if you really don't want to see that person that day and you're like, no, I don't really want to hang out, and you're sitting there and they're not, around you, you can just say, like, because I'm saying yes to myself and having a really good time tonight. Right? Like, bring in what you're actually saying yes to. And I also challenge you to not explain when you say no. I have my clients do that from time to time for long, long chunks of like, and if they're in partnership, like tell your partner that you're just going to be saying yes or no for a while without explaining. So you can get used to just saying yes or no. It's like, oh, do you want to? No. And then walk away if you need to. If you feel yourself about to over explain because you feel bad and guilty, like, we're going to cut that off. Um, Feeling your feelings is sacred. That's something that I want to make sure that all of you are honoring within yourself, and is a superpower of the divine feminine. The divine feminine rules emotions, rules, that energy, the intuition. If you are not feeling your feelings, if you feel like you can't cry, if you feel like you can't yell, if you can't do all these things, like, know that that is blocked divine feminine energy, which means your manifestations are also going to be blocked. And use things around you to help clear it out as well. Maybe listen to that sad playlist so you can get tears out of you, or go to kickboxing so you can feel that fiery energy. Do things that will provoke a little bit of emotion in you that is safe to do it. Don't do anything unhealthy. But those are telltale signs that there's trauma that needs to be looked at. And healing the divine feminine is not something that's often talked about widely over social media, but it's necessary. And especially for femmes, as I mentioned, and intersectional femmes, some, like I present as a Black femme, and so taking time for ourselves is something that society deems like evil for us to do. Like, we are supposed to always be available. We are supposed to always be kind. You know, like, it's ridiculous. But when you are raised in that for your entire life, and then you go to actually take care of yourself or protect yourself, it becomes quite disheartening to see how hard it can be. And then you realize how much about your past you've shoved down, like a lot of trauma, a lot of secrets that are also buried underneath. So make sure you are always trying to make time for your emotions so you can actually receive the life that you are wanting to receive. And since we were talking about family, the divine feminine energy, if you uh consider yourself someone who is a divine femme and a feminine, and you have carried or want to carry, like, being able to heal your sacral, where like sexual trauma will be stored, is really important. It's a deep journey. It's a very gentle journey. It took me years to get through having a miscarriage and feeling open to wanting to carry again. Also having experienced a bunch of sexual trauma from the time I was younger all the way up until my adult life. So, it's okay to go slow. It's okay to be gentle. It's okay to say I don't know how to do this and come be a part of a group, right? Like Z School for the Gifted. Not saying you have to share your story, but it's okay to be in community. That's what our ancestors did. And as I was creating this, I just wanted to make sure that folks really knew that you know we have to start openly talking about it, our past traumas, and how challenging healing can actually be, especially right now, depending on where you live and the things we are facing politically, that makes so many of us feel unsafe to exist in the world just as we are. So we have to have more spaces and grace with ourselves and do what is necessary for us to feel okay day to day, right? You say, hello, superstar. Hi. I'm so glad you're here. And that was a message that I really wanted to get across to people, because while I am a healer and a musician and all these things, I am also an activist and am fully aware of the type of energy that is out in the world, and I am fully aware of the type of rights that are being taken away. And I am fully aware that in order to help people heal and feel comfortable choosing themselves, if they want to move, if they want to have a different career, if they want to start that business, if they want to live off the land, right, if they want whatever it may be, if they want a different relationship, we have to acknowledge our circumstances for what it is, and not judge it, and begin to heal as a community, because we can't do this by ourselves anymore. Waiting for tutorial, Miss Femme. So let me know if that is resonating with you all. Again, I would love to see you all in Z School for the Gifted tomorrow, since we are doing the community circle. I'll be answering spiritual questions. I'll be teaching you a massage that will unblock gently your sacral and your solar plexus. It's going to be very relaxing, very healing, very ancestral, and I'm going to be guiding you through a meditation to integrate your Gemini energy, so you feel more balanced amongst all of these shifts. And I do want you all to also answer this question in the chat. One last question, before we start heading out. And feel free, if you have questions, drop them in the chat. Which one of these that I just mentioned hit you the hardest? So, rest is productive. Your worth is not measured by your output. Receiving is an act of rebellion. Saying no is a form of self respect. Feeling your feelings is sacred, right? Which one of those really hits home for you, or what do you feel is most important for your journey right now? What is most important for your journey right now? Feel free to drop it in the chat. And if you're unsure, feel free to ask a question or let me know how this is resonating with you. I'm going to be doing some more of these lives, and as I mentioned, bringing on some folks to kind of share their advice in the industry. I have some masculine energy coming on. His name is Patrick. We both competed in season 16 of The Blocks, a reality TV show. And they are a leader in the empowerment space. They came from the medical field, and now they are empowering entrepreneurs and folks to just get out and make an impact. And they are phenomenal. They are super funny. They're super funny, and just an amazing energy to be around. So I'm really excited for you all to meet them. And then I also have another great friend of mine. I'm actually going to bring on two of them, separate times. One of them is in the activist realm and is a doula and an educator. And then I also have another friend who's going to be talking about herbalism and plants and we're gonna do some cooking because I cook, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So I can't wait to share this with you all. And if you missed my announcement earlier, I'm going to be sharing a link. It's going to be called Untold Stories. So I'll be sharing that. It's an anonymous link. You're welcome to ask questions or share your own story to there if you feel like you need a space. It's not going to be shared with the world. Unless you want it to, you can select it to be shared on ZTV or talked about if you're needing advice. And there's also going to be some things around love and intimacy on the link as well, which I will be then selecting to talk about in Adventures of a Single Trilineal, my love blog, and giving as much advice as I can. So let me go through and read this. So receiving is an act of rebellion. Yeah, that one hit home for you. Rest and feelings. Yeah, yeah. I want you all to commit to these. I love all those things. Can't wait for it all. Amazing. Are you coming to the workshop tomorrow? I would love to see you there. Rest. See, as a masculine being, it's almost frowned upon for me to rest. Yeah. How can a man masculine feel more comfortable with healing the divine feminine? I may not truly understand those energies. Yeah, okay. I love that question. I see a lot of, masculines who are showing up in their very, very masculine energy get so burned out. Two different things that I think about. I know that some masculines who are really leading either their family or their community, they take space for themselves. It's like literally on their calendar of, I'm going to spend like Tuesday mornings out in nature, and I'm going to be balancing my energy doing like some sort of like weightlifting or getting into the water or hiking so you can really ground yourself. Some folks do yoga, some masculines do not like that. It just depends on what you are most comfortable with. I think the biggest thing is having space throughout the week for yourself to check in with your own energy, and even if you don't put on your calendar, like even if you ask yourself in the morning, like what do I need? Like what do I need? Like masculines are good at taking action. So if you can ask yourself what do I need and take action on that, you'll be able to more freely balance your divine feminine energy. If you don't want to get into the things like being a part of certain exercises. Can I ask you what your astrology sign is? Ancient Eyes, I think it's Ancient Eyes. Yeah, can you tell me what your astrology sign is? um what does it mean to truly be feminine or masculine when not attached to stereotypical behaviors, self-expression, and roles? Honestly, I was thinking about this today because I was also thinking about Lord Shiva. And when you're balanced with your masculine and feminine energy, gender aside, presentation aside, stereotypical behaviors aside, you are at one with the universe. You are at one with the universe. You are balanced. You are calm. You can shift between the energies really easily. So even though I like present as a feminine, I have pretty balanced divine feminine and divine masculine energy. So I will know when to use my masculine energy when it comes to my business or when I need to alchemize certain masculine energies. And then I will easily shift back into my feminine energy, and let go of the masculine. So I've kind of like curated my space around me so I can be in balance. So even if I shift into my masculine, I don't feel stuck there, right? Like I don't feel burned out. I don't feel heavily masculine and like always actioning something. And I don't feel heavy, heavy, heavy feminine where I'm like way too far in my emotions. I'm like right in the middle. And I choose on my physical body to present more as feminine. So it's like you can flow between them without really feeling friction, I would say, and use them to your advantage to be more at harmony with the universe, because the universe is all about balance. If your intuition is a little like out of whack that week, it's probably because your divine feminine and your divine masculine are a little out of whack too, like a little misaligned. Hopefully that was helpful. Hi, it's so great to see you. I'm trying. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole, like, that's the creme de la creme, right? Is as long as you were trying, that's the most important thing. We put a lot of emphasis in society around like what results are supposed to look like, and then we base our worth on that, which we talked about earlier. Right, your worth is not measured by your output, so trying is the most important thing that you can be doing right now for balancing your divine feminine, and that's hugely important. I appreciate you asking that. Got it. Gratitude. Yeah. So let me know if anybody else has any other questions. Or comments. Again, I do invite you all to come to see School for the Gifted tomorrow. It's a lot of fun. If you've never been, it's so much fun. We laugh, we cry, we do a bunch of funny things. Sometimes we listen to music, sometimes we're journaling. It's just a safe space to be, and I invite everybody to just be a part of a community at least once and see if it's for you. And every week every week it's different, and I enjoy seeing all of the folks there meet each other for the first time or for the 10th time, and building upon that. Like, I know many of them talk to each other outside of Z School for the Gifted and like travel to see each other, right? Like, they put the intention out there to be a part of their soul tribe, and that's really what they manifested. And I have some things there that I wanted to remind everybody, that the divine feminine isn't something you earn, it's something that you remember. So it is already a part of you, and now you are just on the journey to remember that peace, that bliss, that joy, that creativity, that balance, that harmony, right? So be really gentle with yourself. It's not necessarily you shoving something into your body, but creating a safe container within yourself to be able to allow that divine feminine to come out. Divine feminine energy is like is like connection to source. It's like a beautiful blossoming a rose bush that also has thorns, but it needs the right environment to be able to do that. It needs safety. That's why we talked about safety earlier. The divine feminine needs that. And when you think about divine feminines and masculines in terms of unions and things like that, gender not included, the divine feminine needs protection, which is why it's good to have a balanced divine masculine energy within you. Or, if in relationships and you kind of show up more as a divine feminine, you needing a divine masculine to also help you feel safe so you can lean more into your divine feminine energy. So there's the duality of both, right? Because even if you are a balanced divine feminine with your energies balanced, and you're with someone who is a divine masculine with imbalanced duality type energies within them, it's going to be very difficult to coexist together, because you will feel that energy and it will feel unsafe. I appreciate you for creating this space. Definitely peaceful here. Yay! I'm so glad you are feeling at peace. That's all I really want for folks, because I spiritual awakening is wild, and also the world needs a lot more spaces where you can show up as yourself. So be sure to be gentle with yourself, be clear with yourself, your intentions, and stay open to what wants to move through you. So that is the biggest thing. Again, asking yourself, what do I want right now? What do I need right now? That's going to be your key to healing your divine feminine. And if you are someone who wants to dig deeper into that divine feminine energy, I highly recommend you also kind of go on journeys with me to work one-on-one. I love working one-on-one with folks to heal more of that deeper trauma, to create deeper manifestations, to really step into the spotlight. Because sometimes, group settings, it's all well and good, which I love. But sometimes you do need that one-on-one attention depending on the sensitivity of what you want to share as well. And if you are in More Than Worthy and we work together in a mentorship, you automatically get access to Z School for the Gifted, like it's already included. So you will have your balance and harmonious aspect of being in a group and going one-on-one. So yeah, tell me about it. So wait, okay, I'm confused again. Are you just saying like, yeah, tell me about it, like in agreement, or do you actually want me to tell you about something? The adverse reaction with the other is definitely a thing. Yeah. Okay, maybe those were meant to go together. I'm picking up what you're putting down. LMAO. No, I'm agreeing. Okay, that's what I thought as I was reading it. Sometimes the comments are delayed, so um I'm just making sure that I had all the pieces. Okay. Um yeah, yeah, adverse reaction with the other is definitely a thing. Yeah, 10,000%. 10,000%. So I invite you all to Z School for the Gifted. I'm gonna always keep sharing it because it's an amazing resource and it's literally only $22 for the time being. Um, and again, part two is we're gonna be walking through all of this healing, and then I have the Kick the Shit challenge towards the end of May where we're gonna finish clearing out our third eye and our crown chakras and really pushing our manifestations out into the world, calling in your happiness, which includes the unstoppable wealth creators for you to manifest that wealth into your life. So if you have questions, feel free to drop them below in the comments. You can email me. You can go to bougiesavageproductions.com and send a contact form as well, or check out my link. All of the links are going to be in the description, depending on where you are viewing this call. If you are on YouTube, I think LinkedIn and a few others, then it'll be right below in the description. You'll have a link to Z School for the Gifted. You'll also have a link to the challenge as well, and you can kind of just figure out which one is best for you. And then I will be adding a link for the anonymous questions. Where to know about gut healing? Yeah. So I did a live recently for gut healing on Monday, so there's that video. Otherwise, you are welcome to come to Z School for the Gifted. uh Come to Z School for the Gifted and we can talk about it, about your gut health. Let me know if that is what you were asking. Is there a consultation or more of a class? Is this no, Z School for the Gifted is a class. It happens once a week. And it usually runs between an hour and a half to 2 hours. I hold space for everybody on the call. I like pin folks one by one to answer their questions, and I do like live channeling for you. If your ancestors have messages, I share as well. And then at the end of it, since we're doing a journey right now, I'm going to be putting you into meditation and teaching you about this massage. So it's an extra kind of a bonus within Z School for the Gifted. If you are wanting a consultation, that is completely separate. You can go to bougiesavageproductions.com to do a 20-minute consultation, if you're trying to figure out like what service is for you. But Z School for the Gifted is an actual class. Like it's an actual class. I host it once a week, and so folks can come as needed, and it's just a really great setting to be in. You're so fucking lovely. Oh my god, thank you. I appreciate a compliment. Got you. Yes, Ada. Yes. Okay, Ada. Hopefully, okay. Let me know if you have any other questions. Benita, hi. How are you? It's all on the website though, right? Yeah, so on the website, you can book a consultation. Like literally at the top, there's a button that says like book consultation or like spend 20 minutes with me or something like that. Something like that. And then if you scroll down on the website and you click on the Fairy Medicine Woman, you can click that and it'll take you to Z School for the Gifted and the other services. Otherwise, you can look in the description and you'll have the link to Z School for the Gifted. You'll also have a link to the Kick the Shit challenge. I don't know if I put the other website in there, but I can add it in after this. So it's there also. But yeah, it's all on the website. So the button is at the top to book the consultation. Scroll down and you can go to the Fairy Medicine Woman because I have different segments of my business that are all there that you can go ahead and click on. Like there's dog training and the Hidden Fairies, which is going to be dropping soon, and a bunch of other things that I'm adding in. Like I'm going to house my blog on there soon. So we're continuously adding and building onto it. So it's bougiesavageproductions.com. It's BUUJEE Savage, SAVAGE Productions.com. And it'll come up. So that is my website. The contact sheet is also on there. You can scroll down to the bottom and you can just put some information in there and I'll be able to respond to you. Um, you love the ZTV logo. Isn't it cool? It's so cool. I love it so much. I have a custom background too that I didn't use because I liked the way this looked. Okay, awesome. I'm glad that answered your question. Patrina. I love that you were all talking to each other in there. Benita is going to be at Z School for the Gifted, which I am super duper excited about. Hope all is well. Yeah, so let me know if there are any last questions before we close out this episode. For folks who are just tuning in, reminder, class is tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific. Kick the Shit Challenge is, I believe it's May 31st or 30th or something like that. And the 2nd and the 3rd of June, Unstoppable Wealth Creators is going to be 2 weeks from that, which is going to be included in the Kick the Shit Challenge. And it's going to be an amazing time. And I have another guest coming up. His name is Patrick, who guest starred with me on The Block season 16, which was a lot of fun to compete on. Reality TV shows are no joke. I don't know how people do so many. I was exhausted and tapping into people's energy like, what is this? What is this? And we were like on reservation land near where some of my family used to live, and so I was like, this is a hot mess. This is a hot mess. But he's going to be here. He is like going to hold it down for the visibly like masculine energy and being a leader in that space. So I wanted to make sure that folks could tap into him and what he offers, and he is just phenomenal. And I have some other feminines who are coming in to do activism work, and our educators, doulas, herbalists, all sorts of things. I'm going to be pulling my my whole network to make sure you all have things that you can enjoy and learn from. Again, there's going to be untold stories and things like that, and some links that you can submit questions to ahead of time. Z School for the Gifted is gold. People, don't miss it. Thanks, Benita. Yeah, it's like it's very accessible, very very accessible. I tried to make it as life changing as possible. Um, and yeah, I don't know how else to explain it other than you just have to go. I might record one of the sessions and see if folks are open to that, and then kind of share some snips. I don't always record the sessions just for anonymity and safety of folks, depending on what we're talking about. All is well. I love that you all are having conversations in the chat. This is why I love doing this, because you have also this amazing soul tribe around you to be a part of. I haven't even been checking TikTok whatsoever. I'm just gonna take it. Hey, oops. I'm just gonna. I just don't understand why. Okay, I love you, whoever you are who answered this. I just don't understand why a beautiful woman like this would tattoo her beautiful skin. And someone said because she can. Thank you. I love that. I love you all. It's 9:20 p.m. here. Winter Owl validation. Hi. Hi, hi, hi. I'm reading through these comments. It's hard to watch all of them at the same time. I'm gonna need a better setup for this because it's a little tricky with like 3 different screens. But I am going to wrap it up here. Let me just make sure I didn't yeah, I didn't miss anything. That is it, my friends. So I hope to see you on the next episode of ZTV. This has been fun. If you have any ideas or topics that you want me to share, ideas of folks you want me to bring on, let me know. I'm here to support you, here to hold space and make sure that you are receiving all of the love in the world. And again, I'm going to be updating the description with BougieSavageProductions.com. I don't think I put my website on there. Thanks for asking, H and I's and other folks. Actually, I don't think it was H and I's. It was someone else. But that is it, my friends. I will talk to you all soon. I'm sending you lots of love, lots of hugs, and just be the bright, shining stars that you are. I'm going to start logging off of things. Bye, TikTok. See you later. Goodbye, Instagram. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Hey, bye. Oh, hi, Victoria. Bye, Victoria. We're logging off. Hey, everyone. It's nice to see you. Sending love. Hi, Dee. We're actually closing out right now. You'll be able to watch the replay on the live section on YouTube, since most of you, I think, are from YouTube. Yeah, that's what the little icons are next to your name. Nailed it. Save us for last. Of course. Of course. YouTube. Shh, you're my fave. Okay, goodbye everybody. I'm gonna sign off and get some rest. I will talk to you all later. Later, taters.